Restaurant closures in Portland, Oregon are coming in hot. Today we've got a story that most of it kind of dances around this thing of, well, we closed down because of this. And towards the end of the article, boom, we get into it. So let's get into it. Here we go. Nico's Cantina announces closure along with Mama Dut and Tokyo Sando. Now, these three restaurants are wildly diverse restaurants. One, you've got a Cantina. One, you've got some Japanese food. You got Mama Dut. They're small food businesses that are all basically going, okay, yep, especially the one in downtown. Not enough folks around, but you get too much criminal activity. And it's this overall sense of this isn't necessarily a safe place or a good place to run a business. Down in San Francisco, you got the identical thing going on Valencia Street, which used to be is one of my other topics that I'll be covering today. It used to be one of the hottest locations within San Francisco. All these restaurants, you could not get a spot there. I mean, you're on a waiting list and you just be waiting forever to open up a restaurant there. Now, I mean, it's wide open. I mean, you've got the ability to take your pick of spots because there are so many that are closed down. And it's because street conditions have gotten so terrible, just terrible. So same deal, right? Same deal. And yet folks want to say, there's nothing going on. There's nothing wrong with Portland. There's nothing wrong with San Francisco. It's all good. It's fine. A little over a year before opening in the Cully neighborhood, Nico's Cantina will officially close its doors in November. But it isn't the only Portland-based restaurant that will be shutting down in the coming weeks. Now, where is the Cully neighborhood? It's northeast Portland. It's this box right here. Okay, so here's your downtown Portland here. So go to the north and east a little bit. One of the other restaurants was here, and then I can't remember where the other neighborhood is, but I remember thinking that is not a great neighborhood either. So none of these are in a really strong, nice residential neighborhood of Portland. They're not there. These are all restaurants that you go, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. On Tuesday afternoon, Nico Vergara, owner of Nico's Cantina and Nico's Ice Cream Shop, shared a social media post announcing that his Mexican restaurant would shutter at the end of the month, literally after a year. Bringing another hotspot to his neighborhood, Portland man opens Mexican Cantina in Cully neighborhood. This was September 15th, 2022, just over a year ago. If you can't make it a year and you opened up post-pandemic, I mean, that really tells you something, right? Now, he's going to say between continued rising costs, all right, but that's all restaurants, that's all businesses, the rapid growth of Nico's ice cream. Okay, so you got an ice cream shop taking off in the same neighborhood? Oh, all right, okay, all right. You got some really good ice cream in there? I mean, is it just stellar ice cream? No, it's doing okay, right? So they're going to focus on, well, the ice cream shop. Yeah. Ice cream, costs are different. The scale of business is different. However you want to spin that. So Nico's ice cream is making more money than the Cantina, right? Better location, whatever. And life in general, what does that mean? This is Nico. He's literally coming out and saying this. And life in general, it just doesn't work out. Now, you've got a situation where, yes, the continued rising costs are squeezing everybody. But if you're in an area that people don't want to go to because they don't want to have their car broken into, they don't want to have a little bipping action go on. They don't want to be around the environment of zombies walking around. They don't want to, step and poop on the sidewalk. I'm not saying all of Portland or all of San Francisco is like that, but enough of it is around these businesses to be shutting these businesses down consistently. And this is 3 restaurants, right? This is a 3-pack. It's a tri-pack. Well, it's just a lot, Vergara wrote. I am choosing to not see our closure as a failure, but more so as a learning lesson. I would say it's a learning lesson that is also a failure. And maybe your learning lesson was failing to recognize that you are opening up in a section of town that may not be conducive to long-term business ongoing. Yeah. And that's what you've got going on, right? So till you start to clean up the streets, which I don't think is happening anytime soon. I don't. I think you're going to see some turnaround in the downtown core of Portland, but that's a pretty small area. I think you're getting pretty close to hitting some rock bottom on pricing, because you're getting down to where, rent and acquisition costs start to make some pretty good sense long term. Yeah, somebody will buy these buildings and hold them, but that's a different story. I digress. We're talking about ice cream. We're talking about Cantina. We're talking about some Japanese food. The owner's ice cream shop, located in the same neighborhood, will remain in business. Still, Vergara is seeking a restaurateur to take over Nico's Cantina space on 4318 Northeast Cully Boulevard. Well, of course he is, because he's got a long-term lease on that bad boy, and he doesn't want to be stuck either buying it out or paying for it long-term. And he doesn't want to default either, right? Entered into a contract, and he's still got another shop open. It's not like he's just dipping out and going back to Vancouver, BC after his mushroom store got shut down. Portland's dining scene will have other openings as well, with the impending closures of Mama Dut and Tokyo Sando. Here's how we're spinning it. Hey, we've got room for plenty of new restaurants. Come on in, bring your new restaurant idea. You're just going to be, you're going to be simultaneously, as this one restaurant closes down because of, life in general, it opens up opportunity. So let's spin it that way. There's plenty of open space for new businesses to come in. Yeah, then you could apply that also to, Philadelphia and some other areas that have far worse open area. Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia. Yeah. Hey, opportunity galore. You can take your pick of any of these spaces. Doi Pham, owner of, if I mispronounce that, sorry. He's the owner of the Vietnamese-inspired vegan restaurant, previously announced that it would shut down on Sunday, November 19th in Mama Dut's 3 years in the Buckman neighborhood. Okay, Buckman is the other neighborhood. It was featured on Netflix Street Food USA and recognized by the James Beard Foundation. Hey, it's a restaurant. It's got some good food. Go there and eat. But only 3 years in business. So we got one that's 1 year in business, and then we got another one that's 3 years in business. These are all post-pandemic, aren't they? Right? I mean, they just are. So they're aware of the issues. They're aware of, hey, if you open up a restaurant, you might get shut down because that little thing called COVID-19, and all these governors decided, well, we don't want all of our citizens to get the flu, so we need to shut everything down and go that direction. Pham says that that's a female. Pham said she'll keep supporters updated on the business's next steps. Well, when you've said we're closing down, nobody cares. It's like, oh, that sucks. I like to go there and eat. But beyond that, don't care. Another local favorite, Tokyo Sando, will serve the last of its Japanese sandwiches on Sunday, December 17th. The restaurant had its debut 1 month before the COVID-19 pandemic hit Portland in 2020. That sucks. That's just some terrible timing. What's happening? We're doing our grand opening. We're doing our hard opening. We already had our soft opening. And pandemic? What? This is terrible timing. Yeah, that is. And they have served customers since then, but no longer. However, owners said this is no longer feasible. Here's the quote. We struggled to keep the business operating in the challenging times, but tried to stay open 7 days a week because we didn't know what else to do to drive. And he's talking about driving in business to make this a profitable venture. We didn't know what else to do other than keep open the cart. So this sounds like a food cart, right? Tokyo Sando wrote, now due to the condition of what Portland has become. There you go. In the very last sentence in the article. Now, due to the condition of what Portland has become, we don't know why we're making Japanese food in Portland. It's a business owner. He wrote up a business plan for this restaurant. Something like that. Everybody does. It's the beginning of their planning stage, right? I'm going to become a restaurateur. I'm going to become a notable chef. I'm going to get on the Disney Channel. They're going to have me, not Disney Channel. whatever, ridiculous Food Network. I don't watch any of those shows. I'm just not that big of a food kind of guy. I just don't care enough. Like, oh, it's got the best sauce in the world. And no, due to the condition of what Portland has become. Yeah. Yeah. Just laying it right out there, right? All right. What has Portland become that makes you think, why are we making Japanese food in Portland? And a legit question. If you are the owner of a Japanese restaurant, even if it's a food truck, and you are going, why are we doing this? Then you probably shouldn't. And you probably shouldn't from the get-go. But I think people didn't realize how much of an impact the whole drug deal would have. We didn't know that fentanyl would kind of rear its ugly head as badly as it has. Because prior to the pandemic, we knew fentanyl was out there, but it wasn't killing people in the same numbers. And so now you've had this, since the pandemic, you've had this massive shift from heroin to fentanyl. So that's what you've got going on that are just destroying the street conditions and making it so that all these restaurants get broken into, because everybody knows that these restaurants have stuff in them that you can sell. Get your next fix. Rinse, repeat. You've got these street conditions. And then you've got, law enforcement in Portland is horrifically understaffed. Horrifically understaffed. If you get somebody out to your 911 call same day, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. And the concept of trying to prevent some of the criminal actions going on, they're lucky to keep up with just number of calls they came on shift with versus number of calls they've answered, relative to when they get off shift. It's an uphill struggle, and you just don't have the bandwidth of law enforcement in Portland to make a go of it. Now, you're hearing a lot about all throughout the United States. You're hearing a lot about, hey, let's refund the police. We need to refund the police. The problem with that is nobody wants to be a cop. They don't want to be a cop. And even if you had all these police officers, you don't have public defenders right now to defend the criminals. And so they're just being let out of jail. This is happening en masse. En masse. We've talked about the whole, well, we got somebody arrested here and they look like they've got some mental issues. All right, let's get them checked out by a mental health care professional. See if they're able to stand trial for charges because they whacked somebody with their sword. That is a regular ongoing deal, right? Swords are just, everybody's got a sword. Yeah, I'm practicing for my fencing debut and or defending myself in a homeless encampment. Yeah, take your pick. Either one is not good, because when somebody gets whacked with a sword, that's not good. People tend to lose hands and arms, which has literally happened. There's a story I read the other day. Somebody got whacked and got taken off, I think above the elbow, their arm, with a sword. Yeah, trying to attach somebody's hand. Just some crazy stuff going on out there. But even if you do get a whole bunch of cops, and you go out and arrest them, don't have enough public defenders, and you don't have a district attorney who's willing to, incarcerate people because, we just want to let everybody go because, racism. Yeah, you don't have the ability to turn around this situation at all, given the current circumstances. It's just going to get worse. So this concept of my last podcast, one of the local officials in Salem was saying, number one, 80 and 90% of the homeless population in Salem, Oregon, it's south and east of Portland by I think an hour. 80 to 90% of the homeless population is addicted to fentanyl. And then what the official was saying in Oregon was that we can't have these public open air drug markets going on. Oh no, you can, and you do, and you will. It's just that on top of all this other stuff, these layers of just terrible policy making over the years has gotten you where you are. So now we've got these upcoming legislative sessions that are going to happen. So health officials are like, okay, what do we do about this whole fentanyl crisis? Because we got people dying like by the thousands. And then you've got the homeless population, and then you've got the drugs, and then you've got the break-ins, the burglaries, the rise in crime. Yeah, we can't have the open air drug markets. That's no good. We can't have those in our cities. No, you can't. You can't. But anybody that's reasonable would have told you that up front. And everybody that was reasonable, and this is that socialist experiment you got to work on. Okay, what happens if we defund the police? And what happens if we decriminalize all the drugs? And then all the crimes that used to be felonies are no longer really even prosecutable. They're all misdemeanors, and district attorney doesn't care. And so now you've just got this, what we keep hearing is Wild West. It's worse than the Wild West, meaning people are just doing whatever they want because you're not going to get in trouble. You can drive around here in Seattle without tabs for literally years because they're not pulling people over because that's racist, right? It's racist. You can't do that. You just can't willy-nilly pull somebody over for having no tabs. Same thing with the headlight. Yeah, you can drive around with one headlight, no tabs for a long, long time. I mean, a long time. I am not talking from personal experience. I mean, it might be. I just kind of want to see how it goes, right? How long can I get away with this? I mean, we don't need headlights at all. We don't need turn signals. Nobody is enforcing any of that anymore here in Seattle. Tabs? Yeah. Why do I need to pay $150 if nobody's going to pull me over? Because, racism. Crazy stuff, right? It's crazy stuff. But it's the stuff that is literally driving businesses and restaurants out of business, left and right. San Francisco, Seattle, LA, everybody gets it. But I think, officials want to say, no, we've got this vibrant marketplace and a lot going on. And there's plenty of opportunity for new restaurants to come in. And yet I focus on, all right, all these businesses have left, tax revenue has left. You're going to have, $500 million budget shortfall in San Francisco. All right. How are you going to spend that? All right. We got a lot of opportunity for the upside to get our budget back in shape, right? You're going to have to tax your way out. They're going to have to raise taxes incredibly or get a federal bailout or just, float a bond, start borrowing incredibly. I don't know what you're going to do, but so much of this was avoidable. And yet here we are. It's like, all right, 3 more restaurants gone. That's great. And yet it takes to the very end of the article. Now due to the condition of what Portland has become. Oh, okay. So this is a condition. This is a street condition issue. Interesting. Instead of all that other nonsense that was just kind of like, life got in the way. We're viewing this as a learning opportunity. Yeah. Street conditions in Portland, driving these businesses out. Period. End of story. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.